Baruch atah asher anak melech haolam asher kedishanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu li tatif latzitzit. Good morning, Ribbon. How are you? Or should I call you Kelly? I'll probably call you Kelly because that's what TikTok reminds me to call you. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Dr. Punk. Good morning. Good morning, Shan. Yes, it is similar to the one used in Judaism. That's true. This was my grandfather's. My voice is a bit shaky today. Shark Week, like, the Discovery Channel is playing videos about sharks? Or something else? I'm doing well today, Kelly. Good morning. I hope this is okay. Did you see? You couldn't have seen. There was a time when you were asleep and Mama was on you, and it was very nice. Yeah, I took a picture of it because I thought you would like it, and Rin said that you looked very beautiful.
My eyes doing the thing.
Yeah, your eyes doing the thing. It's true. Good morning, Frankie. How are you? So today we're gonna say some prayers. We'll say some words from the book of Deuteronomy, and then we'll read from the story of Atarhasis, Noah, the flood tale, but an old one. And then we'll say Arati, and then we will say Kaddish. And it'll be a nice time. Thank you, Queen. I appreciate that a lot, Steph. Official? You're the official Steph. So, we begin like this, with the word Shema, which means listen. Shema Yisrael Asher Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. Good morning, Blacks. Vahafta et anat Elohecha ובכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר נוחים מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ולכתך בדרך, ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך. Shabbat Shalom. Good morning, Salty Fish. How are you? How's your new daughter? Ribbon, the language is Hebrew. These are from the book of Deuteronomy, the 5th book of Moses. Queen, you were with me like last week, weren't you? And thank you so much for subscribing. TikTok added this new subscriptions feature. It's another way to support me out of like 10,000, right? There's a Patreon link in the bio, and there's a tip link in the bio, and there's a tip link in the bio, and blah blah blah. But I do appreciate the TikTok subscription feature. It gives me a reminder, so it's very clear. Yeah, so thank you for that. That's really nice. I'm glad that your nanny job has been going well. Good morning, Genie in a Locked Bottle. That's a great name. Yeah, you're so tired. Middle child won't sleep. Well, I'm glad I'm on early enough to catch you, right? You're about to go to bed. I hope you get a good night's rest. Good morning from Kansas City. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up?
This cat is so asleep. Is she dead?
She might be dead, yeah. No, she's just asleep. She really likes you. Like she was spooning with you the whole time. Thank you, Salty. Yay! I like it when people subscribe. I get to see little markers on the thing, and you'll definitely get notified. I'm sure that it influences the algorithm for sure. So if you want to see my stuff, you can subscribe, and TikTok will show it to you. Okay, I'll see you soon, Kelly. Do I have any pets? Yes, I've got a cat here that's so asleep that she might be dead. Oh no,
She's alive?
she's alive. She slept with us all night. So, oh, there's a bit more of the Hebrew that we have to say. It goes like this. V'chaya ki v'chaya Elohecha el ha'aretz asher nispai lavatecha le'avram nischach ol Yaakov latet la afrim gedolot v'davot asher lo vanita uvati mili'im kol tuva asher lo mileta uverot hatzavim asher lo hasava kerim v'zitim asher lo natata ve'alachta ve'shavata hishamer lecha penishchach et yorer asher tishacha mi'eretz mitzrayim mibet avadim. I'll leave that untranslated because you know that even though I say it all the time, giving a tiny lecture on anti-colonialism is a little bit exhausting, and sometimes I don't want to.
Sure.
Sometimes I don't want to go there. I just want to appreciate the hewn cisterns that I did not hew, and the vineyards and olive groves that I did not plant, and I'll eat my fill.
Well,
I just did it. Yeah, I'm going to have to come up with new and interesting ways to do it, otherwise I get bored. Good morning, Julie. How are you doing today? Hi. Good morning. Every morning is a new morning.
This is why you say good morning.
Because I say good morning like 8,000 times in the morning. Yeah, that's probably true. I've never made that connection, but
Either, but I'm listening to you say good morning.
well, because everybody comes in, they say good morning, and I have to say good morning back. It's important. It's like a dialectical. Thank you, Forever Loved. I haven't put on eye makeup in like 4 days or something, and so today I was like, yes, I'm going to make it look nice.
It's quite late.
Yeah, I was a little worried that I might bother you if I started too early, so I went and I prepped dinner. Oh gosh. I got this email. Okay, I have to deal with that. Good morning, Casper. Oh, Queen Posty Walker says hello. To you, specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, to you.
Hello.
Because she can hear your voice.
Oh. You have a really good mic.
Yes, I do have a good mic. How do I find free food? I look. I look for it in places that historically I have found it in the past. And I expect I can find it in the future. Where have I been? I've been right here, Curly Head. Sometimes the algorithm manipulates my presence in your feed in such a way that I disappear, but I promise you I haven't disappeared. It's just the connection between you and me has grown fainter. And if you would like it to be stronger, you can hang out here, you can write comments, you can hit the little subscribe button, the live subscribe button, and then TikTok will make sure to show you my things more reliably. Because that's how it goes. Look at this cat. Okay. I'm glad you're back, Kelly. Yes, I'm Jewish. No, I never take food from restaurants. That sounds challenging and a little bit gross. You have to be up with the Kellogg Roosters to make it. Oh, it's early for you, Dr. Punk? No background music today? Well, I have my windows closed because, it's autumn now, and the leaves are falling, and it's cold. So, I closed the windows so you can't hear the roosters, and that's the way it is. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not particularly fond of the rooster sounds myself, if I'm being completely honest. Favorite time of night? I did not know that you were on the other side of the world, Queen Posty, but I suppose you are. 7:30 a.m. You woke up an hour ago. There's people all over the world here. Thank you, Joy. I appreciate that. So, we were reading this story called Atrahasis about the flood, creation of humanity in the flood, and we're on to part 2 now. You're in Australia. It's almost midnight. Well, I hope you get to bed soon. Yes, and I hope Salty gets good sleep. Because I know that this portion of life is one of very little sleep. So, I wish good sleep upon you. Where were we? Yeah, so in this story, we're on to part 2 now. And in part 1, what happened was that there were two flavors of gods, right? There were the Anunnaki and the Igigi. And the Igigi were the lower class, and they were tasked with digging out the Tigris and Euphrates riverbeds. And after 3,600 years, the Igigi were like, enough is enough. We don't want to do this anymore. And they started a war. And then the Anunnaki were like, all right, how about we just create another kind of lower class citizen? Happy birthday, Queen Posty. We're going to create another kind of lower class citizen. We're going to call them humans. And they can do the digging, right? And then we have this like beautiful poetic sequence describing creating human beings out of mud and clay and reeds, and talking about what their responsibilities were, and creating the the institution of marriage. And now, at the end of that, there was a mandate. And the mandate said, you shall work, you shall toil on behalf of the gods. Like, okay, I guess that's what's going to happen. Good morning, baby love. How are you? How are you doing? You know, your presence reminded me, I want to burn your candle. I haven't burned it all summer because it's too hot to burn candles, but now it's not summer, and I'm cold, so I'm going to light this so that it makes the room nice. You still making these? I bet you are. It's really good to see you. Yes, there is only one God, but that God has many names and many forms, and exists for many cultures, for many reasons, and there are many stories about them. Ooh. Oh gosh, it's popping and smoking because I haven't lit it in such a long time. There's volatiles in there, but it'll be good. Good morning. It's really good to see you. Did I trim the wick? No, I've never trimmed the wick. Is that a problem? Is that a thing I should do? Oh yeah, I probably should do that. Well. Ba ba ba. Da da da. What's going on? Update. Ah. Okay. I shouldn't be checking my email while I'm live. That's really irresponsible of me. But I get these urgent emails early in the morning, and I have to respond to Wei Jingzhu and Chris Smith, and okay. Oh gosh. Good morning. Good morning, Cameron. Trimming will prevent popping and will produce a smaller flame. How's it doing? Yeah, it'll keep it less smoky. How does one join a commune, Ribbon? It's difficult. Right, like there's a particular subculture of American communes that call themselves communes with a very particular definition, right? Like income sharing, egalitarian, secular, blah blah blah. Right? There are lots of communities and networks of communities. Like you join by looking, by sacrificing, right? You have to spend your life looking, basically, right? Like I hopped from one community to the next, and when I was younger, I was very driven. To live this kind of life with these kind of people. And now that I've been doing this for a decade, I look at it and I see the sacrifices that I've made, and I see the possibilities that I've closed off for myself, and I'm like, did I really? Why was I so passionate about that? I don't know. Right, like it's very similar to finding a spouse. Right, like the commitments you make are similar, the sacrifices you make are similar, right? Like the ways that it constrains your life are similar, and if you're not prepared to make those kinds of commitments, then trying to seek community is going to be frustrating, because you'll be disappointed very quickly. When did I start? When I was 19. I lived in my first collective house. I joined this particular network of communities when I was 24. Is that true? 24 or 25, something like that. I started working with the Federation of Egalitarian Communities. And it has its own little cultural norms and way of speaking and way of viewing the world, and some of it I really appreciate it, and some of it I don't. Like, it's kind of like I joined a religion, right? Not the religion that I talk to you about every day, right? Not these ancient traditions. Instead, this like weird hippie Americana set of values and political beliefs. Maybe you can get started soon. I mean, there are plenty of communes that you can visit if you're interested, right? Like, they're not hard to visit, but they are insular. And for most people, that kind of insularity is not desirable. Good morning, Teresa. How are you? So I keep on getting distracted before getting to these stories. I always get distracted. Happy Friday, Kate. Happy Friday to you. What are you doing on this Shabbat? Ooh, what's going on here? Yes, I live in a network called the Federation of Egalitarian Communities. You can look it up. It's not secret. Thank you, Moon Mistress. Yeah. I think in many ways, all of my lives are question and answer lives, right? And I get the same questions and I give basically the same answers. Yeah, like I do know that, like, as far as content that I could make, it would perform better if I just sat here and talked to you instead of insisting that I want to read this old story or telling you my pronouns. There are communes in socialist countries. There are communes in capitalist countries. There are communes in communist countries. Um, uh, if you interpret the word commune broadly, right? Like, commune is pretty specifically an American invention, right? Responding to American problems. But there are communities that operate, have similar functions, similar patterns of life. Drinking wine later. Well, I hope you have a nice time drinking wine. We are not an exclusively queer community, but we are a majority queer community. Shalom, Twelver. How are you? Anyhow, what do I feel while reading this? That is a great question and a great segue. So there are these old stories, right? Like, we're reading this old story about how humans became slaves to the gods and what happens next. And there's a kind of empathy that I'm chasing, right? Like, I want to know what it was like to be an ancient human, right? I guess I have a story that people in the distant past led lives that the meaning of their lives was more clear, right? Like, they didn't necessarily have the same level of constant existential doubt that I do in every single morning. Like, every morning I wake up and I'm like, what am I doing today? Why am I alive? How do I give my life any purpose and structure or meaning? Right? Like there's too many cultures and too many meaning systems and too much to think about. And I'm just like, I'm plugged into the internet all day long. If I could live in ancient times, would I? Absolutely. Absolutely, I would. And not that I dislike the technology, or, like, you know, if I lived in any time other than this one, I would have to live it as a man. And I'm much happier living as a woman. Much, much happier. But, yeah, I think that there's a way of being, a way of knowing what the world is, that was stronger thousands of years ago than it is today. Right? Like, and beyond that, like, I like feeling like I am part of a lineage, like part of an old tradition, right? And so when I read these old stories, it connects me to those people from long ago, right? I have this tiny little biased translated window into what their life was like, into what they thought about. And I can see how the things that they thought about influence the way the world is today, right? In some convoluted way, right? So it gives me a sense of understanding, a sense of context, a sense of place, and it allows me to imagine a reality that is so different from my own and yet gave birth to my own. And that feels important to me. Hopefully that answers your question, Aliyah. So let's read about what happened after the gods made humans in order to toil, digging out the riverbeds. It goes like this. 600 years, not even 600 years went by. The inhabited lands sprawled and the people grew plentiful, and the inhabited lands raised a howl like a bellowing bull. But the god was annoyed by all the noise that they made. Right, back to the beginning. Right, at the very beginning of this story. That was the same thing. The gods were annoyed. Tiamat and Apsu, they were annoyed by all of the noise made by those children that they made. Ugh, my children, they're so noisy. But the god was annoyed by all the noise that they made. Eliel had to pick up with all of their loud clamor and clatter. Eliel raised his voice to be heard, speaking to the high gods. The noise which is made by man has become too great. All of this clamor and clatter has kept me from my sleep. Therefore command an outbreak of the shivering disease. And thus, the divine Namtara was summoned by the gods, and then the divine Namtara unleashed the shivering disease, and all the people were beset by the plague outbreak. This one! Gods create and then they destroy. Queen, do you like the new custom emojis? You're using your new subscriber privileges quite well. Thank you. I really like seeing that. Like, I'm surprised how much I like seeing that. But, like, it means a lot to me to know that you're materially supporting me like that. Like, it's a huge deal. Like, it's a really big deal. I'm very, very grateful. So thank you. So, there was a plague outbreak because men were being too loud. And what happens next? Now we finally get to the name of the story. And there was one man who lived among them named Atrahasis, and he heeded diligently the words spoken by his god Enki. He often communed with his god, receiving the god's reply. Atrahasis raised his voice to be heard, speaking to his lord. How long are we going to be beset by this terrible disease? Is there an intention that we bear this syndrome for all time? Enki. Notice Enki is not the one who did the diseasing, right? Enlil was the one who did the diseasing, and then Enki is like a little trickster god. He's like, I don't want everyone to die of this shivering disease. I'm glad, Queen. I'm very glad. Enki doesn't want everyone to die, so he whispers into the ears of Atrahasis. They commune together, and they speak. How long are we going to be beset by this terrible disease? Is it their intention that we bear this syndrome for all time? And Enki raised his voice to be heard, speaking to his servant. Bring together the elders. Gather to you the men of rank, so as to instigate a rebellion within your own community. It's the same pattern. First, the Ikiki were rebelling, and the Anunnaki were like, all right, we'll just make humans. And then, not even 600 years pass, and the humans are like, all right, we're going to rebel, because Enki, tricky Enki, says that they should. Send out messengers to announce this within every district, and cause them to raise a loud cry throughout all the lands, that you no longer will pay fitting homage to your gods, that you no longer will beseech the favor of your goddesses, because they're making you sick. But rather, find your way to the door of the god Namtara. Present him a loaf of baked bread, leave a flour offering, and let him feel his own shame upon receiving these gifts, so that he might remove from you his discredited hand. Atrahasis did as he was told, bringing the elders to his door, and he raised his voice to be heard, speaking to the elders. I have brought together the elders and the men of rank so as to instigate a rebellion within our own community. The stories repeat. They repeat over and over and over again. Send out messengers to announce this within the district, and cause them to raise a loud cry throughout all the lands, that you will no longer pay fitting homage to your gods, that you will no longer beseech the favor of your goddesses, but rather find your way to the door of the god Namtara. Present him with a loaf of baked bread, leave a flour offering, and let him feel his own shame. Can you imagine this? A god feeling shame? Yahweh never feels shame, but Namtara does, even though Namtara and Yahweh basically do the same thing, right? Send poison through the people because they're not obeying. Let him feel his own shame upon receiving these gifts, that he might remove from off of us his discredited hand. And the elders paid heed to this, and to his prudently spoken advice. And thus they built a temple in the city dedicated to Namtara, sent out messengers to announce this within every district, and caused them to raise a loud cry throughout all lands. So they no longer would pay fitting homage to their gods, so they no longer beseeched the favor of their goddesses, but rather they found their way to the door of the god Namtara, presented him a loaf of baked bread, left a flour and offering, such that he himself felt shame upon receiving these gifts, so that he removed from off of them his discredited hand, and the shivering disease was no longer a menace to them. Then, after this, the gods received again their daily offerings, though their numbers were no less, but became even greater, while the racket, their clamor and clatter, grew even louder. So, we've reached a sort of truce, but the problem has not gone away. So we have humans, they're slaves to the gods, they need to give offerings. They got very loud, the gods got upset with this, they made a disease. Then Enki's like, you know what you should do? You should change the way you're worshipping. Find some new god so that the disease will go away. And they do this, and the disease goes away, but the humans, they're still loud. And so in Tablet 2, we're going to read about what happens to the two loud humans. There's going to be a flood. And Atrahasis is going to save the day. But that's for another day. We'll read that tomorrow. Kate, why the 1800s of all times? Right? To me, the 1800s is too similar to now. Like if I had to choose a time to go back to, I would choose like a very ancient time, right? Like this. Like the time of Enki and Atrahasis. A trickster alert. You like that? Yeah. Enki's like, I'm just gonna mess with things. He's good. He's a good god. The Babylonian gods, right, like have loose analogs to other gods that you might be more familiar with. So Enki is most similar to Hermes in form and function, and many of their myths are similar. Okay, so now it's time for Arati. The word Arati means flame in Sanskrit. Bring It On. That's a sports movie, right? Can't say I've ever seen it. So Arati means flame. Oh, I'm almost out of fuel. You can see I basically have no fuel in there, but it's still burning. I will have to refill it tomorrow. It's about cheerleading. Jules showed my students a queer cheerleading film last month, but I'm a cheerleader. Just like very campy and stupid and gay. I had a bar mitzvah back when I was a little boy. It went okay. So, now we're going to say Arati. The word Arati means flame. You were actually a cheerleader back in the day. Did you like it, Kate? So, we're going to say the names of various gods and remind ourselves that they are all one. Teenage you found it visually good. That's very polite of you, Dr. Punk. So, we'll say Arati now. Jaya Jaya Arati Vina Vinayaka Vina Vinayaka Shri Ganesha Jaya Jaya Arati Subramanya Subramanya Kartikeya Jaya Jaya Arati Venugopala Venugopala Venuola Papa Vidurana Vanita Chora Jaya Jaya Arati Venkantaramana Venkantaramana Sankatarana Sitarama Radhe Shama Jaya Jaya Arati Gauri Manohara Bhavani Sankara Sambasada Shiva Uma Maheshwara Jaya Jaya Arati Raja Rajeshwari Tripura Sundari Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Mahashakti Jaya Jaya Arati Anjaneya Hanumanta Jaya Jaya Arati Dattatreya Trimutri Avatara Jaya Jaya Arati Adityaya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jaya Arati Sanistaraya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jaya Arati Sankaracharya Advaita Gurave Jaya Jaya Arati Sadgurunata Shivananda Jaya Jaya Arati Vishnu Devananda Jaya Jaya Arati Agastya Munaye Shirama Priyaye Jaya Jaya Arati Ayappa Samine Dharma Shastave Jaya Jaya Arati Jesus Gurave Moses Gurave Buddha Gurave Jaya Jaya Arati Muhammad Gurave Guru Nanak Gurave Samastya Gurubho Namaha Jaya Jaya Arati Venugopala Natatra Suyobati Natandrakara Tamnima Vidyobati Kutoyamagni Tomeva Bantaminabanti Sarvam Tasya Basya Samidam Vivanti Om Gange Kayamane Kaiva Govari Saraswati Narmade Siddhikaveri Namastitam Namo Namaha. Neither the sun shines there, nor the moon, the stars, nor lightning. So from where does this light come? When that shines, everything shines after that. By this light, all else is lit. Tvameva mata chapita tvameva, tvameva bandusha saka tvameva, tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva, kayena vacha manasendriyarva, buddhyatmanava prakrite sabhavad, karomi adyad mangalam parasmahe, narayana iti sarmar payami. Sarva dharmam parichayam amikam sarvanamja amsva sarva papayo mokshayami masucha. Whatever actions I perform with my body, speech, mind, senses, my nature, my intellect, or my emotions, all these, I dedicate to you. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Sanskrit. Another Indo-European language, basically as far away from Irish as you could get geographically. And yet there are some similarities, yes? How are you doing, Amy? So, we will conclude with Mourner's Kaddish. Right? And the word Kaddish means holy in Hebrew, or sacred, or prayer. Kadosh, 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 right? Prophet Isaiah sees the angels chanting at the throne of Yahweh on the eve of the destruction of Jerusalem, right? And so this is a prayer of mourning, a prayer of grief. And we say these words together because I do believe that a cultural practice of collectively announcing our ills allows us to let go of them. Thank you, Amy, right? So we grieve together. Do you want to say Kaddish with me?
Okay.
Can I have a sip?
Yeah.
What you got there?
Tiny bit of oatmeal.
Oatmeal.
And
Ouroboros. I really like it when y'all use that emoji. I should come up with some other ones. I wonder if, like, all of the emojis that I uploaded, they were JPEGs. So they've got these, like, white backgrounds. It looks a little awkward, but I could upload some PNG versions. Better Ouroboroses. You like the cat?
she's in the same spot.
Yeah, she's quite content right now. Can I have a sip? Can I show them what you look like? Is that okay?
Yeah, you're showing Facebook actually what you look like. But no,
Yeah, but
TikTok.
Facebook is like just your mother. She knows what you look like.
And your mother.
And my mother, yeah.
Facebook is for moms now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I look like that. You know what I look like. You just don't know it's me. Now you know it's me. Well, you know what I look like if you've watched any videos.
Yeah. So, Kaddish is a morning prayer. And we say it to let go of the things that we want to let go of. And the people we want to let go of, or the people who are already lost that we're clinging to anyway. You used to be different.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Thank you, Dr. Punk. Yeah, see, this is much better. Okay, so I need to update those emojis now that I see how they look and give them clear backgrounds. It'll be superior. Right, I'll spend some time in the subscriptions and I'll make it so that y'all have good, nice emoji features, and then it will be more tempting for more of you to subscribe, and then I might have a sustainable TikTok time.
What a world.
What a world. Yeah. Got 2 new people to subscribe today. Queen did it. It's very nice of her. Yeah.
She said hi to me, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay. So we'll say Kaddish.
Mm-hmm.
Kaddish goes like this.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah.
Bi'alma divrach yurte v'yamlich malchute. B'chayachon uv'yamechon uv'chaye dekol beit Israel. Bagala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehe shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yirabam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudusha berechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Tiamiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'chol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oh, say shalom b'mramav, oy, say shalom aleinu, v'al Yisrael v'imru, v'imru. Amen. Thanks. I really like doing this with you. You need a goat? Okay, I'll get you a goat. Nice goat emoji with a clear background so that it doesn't look so awkward.
Who will it be? Lovey?
No, it's gonna be a goat on the internet. I'm not capable of making a goat emoji of one of our goats because I'd have to put them in front of a green screen, and that would be very tedious.
I see.
I mean, like, I could take a picture of them out in the forest and, like, Photoshop it forever, but
yeah, that's fair.
the cost does not outweigh the benefit.
Sure.
But I will get you a goat, Dr. Bunk. By next stream, there will be goats.
That means you're doing it today.
I'm gonna do it today. Yes, I'm gonna do it right after this. That's it. We've concluded. Have another sip. Hi, Princess Fuzzy. This is a gardener's mug because the person who made the coffee is a gardener. And it says, I garden, therefore I am. Because, like, I eat the tomatoes and then they make me. So, it's a true tautology. All right.
I don't think it means I'm over-identified with my work.
No, I think it means that your work sustains you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go now, but I'll be here tomorrow to say these words again for all of you. If you like this, if you find this little morning ritual meaningful, please consider supporting the work that we do. I don't actually know how to subscribe. Like, there's a button somewhere. Like, I don't see the button. But there's a link in my bio to Patreon. And there's a link in my bio to tips. And there's a tip button. And there's a lot of ways to do it. I don't want to outline them all to you because they're tedious and dumb. But consider subscribing. It means a tremendous amount to me. Like, it really does. In a way that I can't actually describe because talking about money is unpleasant. But yeah, I hope you have a really wonderful day. And I will see you here tomorrow to say these words once more. Okay. Farewell.